Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I just love doing the Sunday talks this way. Something about being in my own backyard just makes me feel so relaxed, and I feel like I'm just reaching out through this cyberspace, through this camera, right into your home or wherever it is you're watching from, talking right with you. I feel real connected. How can that be over cyberspace? But it is. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today the message is sacrifice, move forward. And you know, any significant advance will require a significant sacrifice. Let me do that again. Any significant advance forward will require a significant sacrifice. So what does all that mean? There are a lot of forms of sacrifice, a lot of forms that sacrifice can take. We might be called on to relinquish the commodities, the precious commodities of energy and time. Let go of that, to sacrifice that in lieu of something better. Securities of one kind or another, money or home or clothes or whatever. A regular paycheck. We might be called to sacrifice that to make room for something bigger and better. Other people's approval. We might be called to relinquish that. Oh boy. Maybe our negative emotions, our down emotions. We might be called sometime to let that go even. And certainly the self-limiting beliefs, the thoughts, the attitudes that we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do. Oh, for sure those. Maybe sacrifice even the internal resistance that stands in our way of moving forward. Maybe sacrificing that resistance. The resistance that comes up when we think of moving forward. Let's talk more about that. Maybe sacrificing the living safely. Maybe we need vulnerable, risky, scared, not safe temporarily. Maybe avoiding risk. Maybe we need to sacrifice the avoidance of risk taking and allow ourselves to risk and be vulnerable. So it can take many forms. In the example of our Unity of Stockton community, we recently had to let go of our lease at our previous location, and it was a sacrifice. And I know many of you who were there with me have gone through the grief process, the grieving, the anger, the frustration, the sadness of letting go, of sacrificing what we have now or what we had now in lieu of, in order to have something greater in our future. And it was not easy. And I had to go through the middle of my anger and my grieving over that loss. And so anytime we sacrifice, it's going to hurt, and we're going to grieve and feel those things, unless we turn it into an opportunity to see the greater good that will come from having done that. So in the Bible, there are many stories of sacrifice. Moses is the one that I want to talk about today, just briefly. For example, Moses, his life, he sacrificed a life that he had with, and he had trade-offs though. We can only trade up if we have something to sacrifice. So Moses traded up his status, his material possessions from when he was young, to get prepared for his life purpose. And the second time he sacrificed greatly was when he relinquished the safety and security of his obscurity in the desert to return to his boyhood home. So major sacrifices, which can really upset the apple cart for any of us. And remember again, Any sacrifice, any significant advance forward will require a significant sacrifice. But we can be, and I really work on this, that I feel impulsive. Like, I don't want to delay my gratification. I'm impatient. I want my reward right now. Yeah? You that way sometimes too? I'm that way a lot. I get so frustrated sometimes when a computer goes too slow or fails to work the way I want it to, and I just impatient. I want it to work now. I get frustrated. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Busy, busy, busy. I'm talking to me right now, and I know many of you are relating to that too. Impetuous acting or doing something quickly without thought or without care. Oh boy, I get into trouble when I do that. I always say you cannot rush computers, because when you try to push the button a bunch of times, you just it slows it down even more. So it just gets me into more trouble. So we just need to tighten our belts. We need to be patient. We need to wait. We need to have self-control. Because you know what? Good things really do come to those who wait. Yes. I'll prove it to you. So, this brings me to the word also, patience. Patience and sacrifice and surrender are all having their foundation in faith, knowing, and it's that faith is perfected only in those who have unwavering faith in a higher power, in God. Unwavering, how many of us can say that? But there is the thing of having it more the time than not, and working toward that, having a conscientiousness around it. So in James chapter 1 verse 3 says, the proving of your faith works patience. The proving of your faith works patience. And I'll add the word endurance. So I've been doing a series of talks. I started out with of how to get what you really want in life. Started out with how to use our power of imagination to figure out what we really want, we dream of for ourselves, what we dream our lives to be, using the power of love to see what it is we truly love and attract ourselves to, using the power of will to make a decision, an enduring decision, and how to go about that. And then I went to a talk on sweet surrender last Sunday, how to surrender, because that's a big part of it. And if you didn't hear either of those talks, even if you did, go back and watch them, because I just begun to realize there's so much more to this, getting what we really want in life. I mean, we can't just put a cursory, oh, I'll do this, do that, and then sit back and wait for it to happen. There's a lot to it, and that's why I had to make it into a series. So do go back and watch those talks, and today is sacrifice, and in July I'll continue with this series, and I'm going to talk about patience, and wow, how important that is. Better mental health, better success, happier lives, better partners, better spouses, better friends, better neighbors. Because, well, I'll talk more about that when I go on to the next part of the series in July. The benefits to having patience, the reasons why we need to have patience and why it's difficult, and how we can cultivate it. We can cultivate patience if we don't already have it. So that's what I will continue with. So it's just, I just didn't realize how important all this was until I started doing the research in preparation for the series of talks. And it is just way up there in my book now for myself. And I know you will see that as we go on. So when we think of the word sacrifice, it has negative associations of loss, I'm losing something. I'm giving up something. I'm being deprived. I'm being punished. I'm suffering. That's what we think of very often when we think sacrifice. The thought of sacrifice, the very thought, leads us to anxiety. And even though we may be compelled to make a certain change in our life, which would involve a sacrifice of letting go of that behavior or whatever it is that we're wanting to change, we may be compelled to make a change. And when we think of sacrificing in order to do that, we may be filled with fears. Example, if I decide I want to lose weight, well, I may wonder, well, will I fail? Will I just gain it right back? Decide I want to change careers. I need to change jobs. Well, there'll be a lag time. Will I be able to pay my bills? And whatever else you might worry about in terms of changing careers. Maybe a job or a career that you long need to leave. Or maybe end a toxic relationship. Or I'll be lonely. Or will I find love again? Will I be alone the rest of my life? Will I ever be loved the rest of my life? I mean, we can really keep that going. I don't know about you, but I sure can. Most humans are capable of that in our forebrain. So, letting go of the status quo of what we've become comfortable with, of what we have come to know and be familiar with, means sacrifice. Letting go of the status quo means sacrifice. In the book called Care of the Soul by Thomas Moore, he's a psychotherapist and a former monk, he says this: the sacrifice is the shadow in the calling. The price you pay for following it, for following the calling. Whatever that calling might be for you, calling toward what you truly want for yourself, your dream, whatever that calling, that pull forward might be, I want to think of it as we're all being constantly pulled higher to a higher way of thinking, a higher way of being. The seeds have been planted in us from the get-go, and we're always being called toward our source, to be more our source, to merge our humanness with our source. We're always being pulled and called. I feel like I got the calling in the middle of the night to be a unity minister. Shoo, scary, because it meant sacrifices. Sacrifices, big ones. Lots of them. But wow, the price that I paid. Or maybe I won't even call it that, but it was such an opportunity to gain so much more, so much greater than what I had before. So let's talk more about what Thomas Moore said. The sacrifice is the shadow in the calling, the price you pay for following it, that which is calling you. So we can explore the nature of sacrifice as it relates to callings and to the work of unfolding, evolving our humanness into something better, our beingness into something greater, being better human beings. Those things that we deem essential to ourselves individually and collectively to humankind. Talking about that and exploring that is one thing. And the aim of sacrifice is to make sacred. The very nature of sacrifice means sacred. Sacrifice means make sacred. And that means to forge a link with whatever is greater than ourselves. A link of ourselves, our human selves, with whatever is greater than ourselves. Whether that's God, community, is greater than us as individuals, nature, the future, the greater good of all humankind, the greater good, or even our own potential to make that sacred. It is. So faith, grounded in faith, and faith follow your callings, or your calling, however you want to think about it. It may call you to surrender the past, or some elements of the past, to quit dwelling on that. We don't come to us, but we don't want to dwell on that. Stay there. It may recall you to surrender even the present in order to move forward. Respond to what our lives are calling in us, for us, from us. It requires a reckoning with what these calls will demand of us. You know, some things are just not served on a silver platter. You ever notice that? I wish it were sometimes. But it's not that easy, and if it were, we wouldn't really appreciate it, honor it, feel gratitude toward it. We have to make sacrifices. We have to give up sometimes stability. To give a sacrifice can be a little wobbly and unstable feeling. We have to give up comfort. Well, maybe we don't have to always, but most of the time, significant sacrifice comes with significant advances. The point is, if we want to follow our inner calling to something greater, whatever that is for you, whatever you want to focus on right now as your inner calling, we have to expect resistance. We just immediately, we decide, I want to do this, immediate resistance. Ever notice that? We just expect that. That's just a part of our human nature. We don't have to fear sacrifices, but rather see them as the necessary shadow in the calling. The problem is, as German philosopher Nietzsche said, we fear our higher self because our higher divine self, that part of us, that aspect of us, we fear it because when it speaks demandingly. Wow. Sometimes like a slap in the face or banging our head against a brick wall. It's kind of like explorers who are clearing their way with a machete through a thick, uncharted jungle. Sometimes it feels like that when we're sacrificing and making room for something new, and we're on this path, and it feels uncomfortable. It's not what we're familiar with, and there's always a snake lurking somewhere. Ooh, now that snake, it could be, I know some of you are just cringing right now. It could be symbolic of there's always a thief trying to take what we have. A thief, not a real thief, but a thief in our thoughts, trying to thieve our good being. A storm in our hearts or all around us that's trying to be a thief, lurking somewhere. But the hardest thing is to be away from that that's comfortable, that we've known, that we're giving up. And yet, in the end, we end up having the best time of our life. You know that. You've had it happen before. We have faith because we know from experience. There's order in things, a divine order in this world. I know. I have faith that behind those clouds, the stars are aligned. I know. I have faith that I am fulfilling an inner calling when I'm having to sacrifice, when I'm going through that jungle with the machete, or whatever it is that I'm sacrificing for. There's a grieving, there's a loneliness, and that loneliness, though, becomes a blank slate from which we discover the values that we want to live for. Think of that. Daily challenges become steps of a staircase to our inner accomplishments. Put it another way, how could humankind have become what we are today if we didn't risk and sacrifice and let go and give up and say goodbye to whatever, all those things we did over the last million years? I know it seems like progress is slow in so many areas, but over the span of 1,000,000 years, we've come a long way. We really have. And we still have a long way to go. And that will require sacrifice. So many people in this world are not happy with the life they live. Yet, they have that inner voice telling them what they need to do. Yep, that one. We all have it. It might be faint. It might be muted. And it's always demanding. And if we don't listen, we get stuck with it. Come on! Louder and louder. Maybe, just maybe, if we accept that the essence of what that voice is discomfort, we can transform pain into stepping stones. Sacrifice helps us. It takes us to a liberation, a freedom, not deprivation, not lack, not punishment. Those things are inconsistent with Jesus' teachings. He didn't teach that we are inherited of deprivation and lack and punishment. No. Greg Levoy is a psychologist and a writer, and he's known for bringing psychology and spirituality together. He was doing a workshop, and he asked participants to imagine crossroads, and there's a signpost with an arrow pointing in two directions, and there's roads, and the signpost pointing in each of those directions. So do this with yourself right now. Imagine you are at that sign. Write down or think about what would be written on each of those roads. One person, one lady, said, "Hold on, let go." And she asked the group, "What should I do?" And although no one knew what her sign was referencing, hold on, let go, not a single person voted to hold on. To hold on, let go. Not a single person voted to hold on. So, if we wish to move forward, we need to let go of something. There's a sacrifice that we need to make. Maybe to end a relationship, maybe to move on for a job or career, maybe to lose weight, maybe, in the case of Unity of Stockton, maybe to let go of the lease on the building of our former location. Letting go of a lifestyle to which we've grown accustomed. Letting go of that building, Unity of Stockton, which we so loved and grew comfortable in. We made it so much like what we wanted. We were forced to part ways with what was familiar and what was comfortable to us. We were forced to break down the walls of the support that we had built. And in that process, we suffered sticker shock, many of us. And in your process of letting go, in whatever it is that you want to change, you're likely to suffer sticker shock. You know, to make a sacrifice, we really need to have the right mindset, a certain mindset. We need to know why this goal is important. How will this goal improve my life? Those things, why and how, are fundamental to reaching our goal. The goal needs to be compelling enough, pulling us hard enough so that we stick through it. We stick through the sacrifice. We stick to the sacrifice. If we don't want it badly enough, we're liable to quit when the going gets tough. The sacrifice needs to be Stockton. We are looking to save our money and buy our own building. Won't that be wonderful? Another example, if I set my mind on running a marathon, I have to sacrifice time for other things to focus on training. The very definition of sacrifice is to make sacred connection with something greater than us. We can reframe the sacrifice from deprivation to liberation. Whatever we have to let go of, do so for something greater, keeping that in mind. What they say, no pain, no gain. Regardless of whether your sacrifice is giving up your morning Pepsi, leaving a job you've had for years, scary. Letting go of renting our old Unity building, letting go of something you want or thought you wanted, it's going to hurt. If it doesn't hurt, it isn't sacrifice. But remember, what you will gain is so much more valuable than what you lose. Owning our own Unity facility, how grand it will be. Remember your goal every day. Somehow remember your goal every day. It's not easy, but it's rewarding, accomplishing goals. Strive to meet that goal every day, consciously. Make it your second nature. Make it a passion that you think about constantly. Reaching that goal, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, oh, how great it's going to be, and what are the steps I need to take action on to get there, and pray and meditate, and all of that together. Every day. Leaving a dead-end job, getting in the best shape of your life, ending a hollow relationship, those are all worth the chance at a more authentic life, clearer conscience, deeper connection with something greater than ourselves. We're happier. We attract more of what makes us happy. Just simply doing things we feel good about. Yeah, sometimes we're impulsive. Sometimes I'm impulsive. I don't want delayed gratification. I'm impatient. I want my reward now. I'm frustrated. Hurry, hurry, busy, busy. I need and we need to tighten our belts. Be patient. Wait. Self-control. Good things really do come to those who wait. It's true. Hermann Hesse wrote a book called Siddhartha, about Siddhartha. And Siddhartha said, yeah, cleverness is good, but patience is better. And he said numerous times throughout the book, here's what I have to offer. Here's what I can sacrifice. I can think. I can wait. I can fast. A lot of people said back to him, what good are those? And he always had good answers. And let me tell you, think, wait, fast. Those are 3 skills for a free and happy life. And it turns out that high performers in life tend to have those 3 skills, and we can develop them. So let's talk more about that. So I can think. We're talking about purposeful thinking, not just whatever comes to mind, but conscientious thinking, purposeful thinking. I'm not going to talk more about that today, but I want to go on to the next one, which is I can wait. Delayed gratification. We're able to plan long term, play the long game, not misallocate our resources, not just money, but any resource. Not misallocate them willy-nilly, but conscientiously allocate them and play the long game. Sacrifice, move forward. Remember, any significant advance requires significant sacrifice. We need to tighten our belts, be patient, wait, have self-control. And one who can do without instant gratification needs to do that for greater rewards in the future, for success in life. It leads to success in life. Research has panned that out. It's more than just waiting for a reward. It's being able to sit out adverse circumstances. Wait patiently until the opportunity is more favorable. It's not passive, sitting back waiting. It's deliberate. And if that deliberate waiting is paired with confidence and faith, knowing that the opportunity will come, we have peace of mind. We have a clearness of being that just enables us to just laser sharpest focus ahead to get what we truly want. Let's go to the third one. I can think, I can wait, I can fast. Fasting is more than just the ability to endure hunger. Fasting from or giving up negative thinking that doesn't serve us as human beings, doesn't serve our higher good, doesn't serve our moving forward into being better as human beings, nor as spiritual beings. It's being able to withstand the difficulties and challenges and disaster even. Training ourselves to be resilient, to have a high pain tolerance, to sacrifice that for something better. I can sacrifice, I can fast, I can endure this pain for now. It's synonymous with renunciation, renunciating whatever we renunciate or let go of or give up. It's coupled with the ability to wait, which is most times temporary. If we don't accept the first best offer today or chase after the shiniest apple, knowing that we get even more later. Summary about Siddhartha. And what did Siddhartha's words teach us? In these fast-moving, hectic times, those three skills are so valuable. And those of us who possess them cannot be pressured to go in a direction that we don't want. If we want to take life in our own hands, our life in our own hands, we have mastery over our own life, dominion over our own selves. We need thinking, waiting, fasting. It doesn't make us slow or weak. It makes us unstoppable. You are unstoppable! Exclamation point. I'm wearing my white dress today. Know why? Because I sacrificed and gave up a lot for something that's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, I am being officially ordained as a Unity Minister. The ceremony takes place at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, and it'll be live, Facebook Live from Unity Village. And it'll be a split screen. There will be a minister back there who will be ordaining me. And there will be myself and Marianne Kane, Reverend Marianne Kane, here on my porch. And Marianne will be putting my stole on me. So please join us to watch if you can. I'm fairly certain it will be recorded and up on Unity Worldwide Ministries Facebook page and YouTube. And I've sent out links. I have them all over the place. I've sent them in letters, and well, I haven't done text messages yet, but I can do that. I've sent them in on their own Facebook, my Facebook page, Unity of Stockton Facebook page. The links for you to join are all over the place. So join us tomorrow, and we'll have an in-person party later in Stockton as soon as we feel that it is truly safe for me and for you, all of you. We look forward to that partying. Those of you who've been with me, and many of you have been with me through this time, through seminary, through classes, you've seen me go through the middle of many things. So it is your ordination too. I want you to join me in that. So, we thank you for all the gifts that you give, monetarily and otherwise. Your sacred service makes such a difference. Our product at Unity of Stockton and your product of giving sacred service is transformed lives. It's a cause the greater than we are. You're welcome to send payments through snail mail, donate through PayPal on our website, and Venmo Unity Stockton at Unity-Stockton. And that's directly to our bank. So again, thank you so much for your sacred service. I wish you the very best. The divine in me sees the divine in you. Blessings.